One of the main things that kind of separates the winners from the losers, the chumps from the champs, the victims from the victors. It's something you might not think. You might be wanting to say is discipline, right? And that certainly plays a huge role. And I wouldn't argue with you if you said that discipline was the number one thing. I wouldn't dispute that. But I think there's one habit that people kind of neglect. You see a little baby. This is me drawing a baby. I know I'm an amazing artist. Just relax, right? This is a baby. They be all happy and shit. Their default mode is happiness. Unless, of course, there's like a biological reason for them to be sad. If they're fucking cold or they hungry or they shit their fucking pants, then they cry. But as soon as you fix that problem, they're back to being happy and joyful. Or even children. They're pretty much happy all the time. But what happens? As this baby grows into an adult, life starts fucking whipping that ass. This is a cloud. Life starts, but shit gets hard, right? And these experiences start to take a toll on you as you grow, right? Maybe you get your ass beat, fucking girl dumps you, whatever. What happens is over time, that joy starts to be diminished, right? See, I think happiness is your default state, but you get beat down by life so much that it's kind of hard to just be as happy as a kid is. Like I'm telling you, man, I got a 5-year-old. This motherfucker be happy just to go outside. Like just going outside, and this motherfucker is excited. Dogs are like that too, but that's because they're stupid, right? Kids just ain't got beat up enough. People always say dogs are smart. Man, my dog's so smart. I'm like, compared to what? Compared to what? I just saw that motherfucker eat a shoe and shit in the corner. Like, what are you comparing it to? The bar is low for these motherfucking dogs. I digress. Motherfuckers is dumb as shit. I don't care what you say. All right. You might be thinking, Brandon, what the fuck are you talking about? Right? Let me explain to you how this relates to success. Whatever you think about, you're going to feel, whether it's real or not. Whatever you focus on, you're going to feel, whether it's real or not. For example, let's say you have a pet. Some of you guys have pets and shit. You know, some of you guys got mad about that dog thing. I'm sorry. Your dog is a fucking genius. I was talking about the other dog. Now let's imagine your genius dog puts down his books that he was studying, takes off his graduation robe, walks into your room. But his walk is a little different today. Something ain't right. Your dog, he looks at you and then just lays over and dies. Just feel that. What would that be like, right? Okay, let's stop for a minute because you guys are gonna get too sad, right? But your dog's not even dead. And a lot of you guys felt that shit, right? A lot of you guys felt that shit. And I don't blame you. Like if I was to imagine a family member of mine, you know, that happening to, I would have felt it too. But what I want to illustrate is that whatever you focus on, whatever you think about, you're gonna feel, whether it's real or not. Whatever you focus on, that affects your state. And when I say state, I mean like your state of mind, your mindset, right? Your emotional state. So your focus is going to affect your state. Why does this matter? Because your state will affect your performance. So for example, let's say your girl just dumped you like an hour ago, or one of your family members went to hospital and you decide, you know what? I'm a badass. I'm going to go to the gym anyway. But because you're going to the gym in that state, what's going to happen is your performance is going to be better or worse, right? It's going to be worse as a result of the state that you entered it in, right? It's not all about doing the right things. It's doing the right things with the right state, the right energy. Because by contrast, let's say you just watch one of Brandon Carter's old classic motivational videos, Excuses is for Bitches, or one of them videos, right? Right before you went to the gym, you might be fired up. You might lift all the weights. You probably going to hit a PR, right? You probably going to set a new personal record because your state was different when you went to perform. And then now that performance is going to affect your results, right? Obviously, if you perform better, the results will be better. If you perform like shit, the results will be like shit. But what affects your performance is the state you're in, right? You've all had to do something. It could be anything. It could be take a test. It could be drive. It could be anything. And you were in a bad mood, you performed worse. Why were you in that state? It's because something had your attention, changed your focus. Now here's the problem with that. If you keep getting shitty results, then what do you think you're going to focus on? Yeah, it becomes a feedback loop. And this is how people end up in downward spirals. The key is to be cognizant of this. The key is to control your focus first. That way, you control the state that you're going to be in when you perform, and then you'll get the results. But here's the thing. We're going to stop this feedback loop here. This is important. Every once in a while, one of my sales team, they get 1 or 2 calls in a row that they don't close, because no salesperson has 100% close rate. And sometimes you get the ones you weren't going to close, that percentage, you get them in succession, right? You get them in order. You might get 3 in a row that you miss. What do you think happens? This happens. Now they start to doubt themselves. They start to focus on this shit, right? And what does that do? That changes their state, because they're thinking about them last 3 sales calls that they fucking lost. They go into the sales call with that shitty state. What kind of results you think you're gonna get, right? And it's a negative feedback loop. What we wanna do, this is the key. This is what I told my sales team. I was like, listen, bro, I don't want you to even think about the results. All I want you to do is focus on managing your state. So sometimes I would make them watch sales calls where they actually got the sale, or I'd pump them up before the shit, right? I'd give them praise and tell them what they're doing right. Get them in that real quality state, because they're focused on it. Whatever you're focused on, you're gonna feel. Now their state is different, then they went into those calls performing better, and the results take care of themselves. The results are gonna be what they're gonna be. This is gonna sound counterintuitive, but to not think about the results at all. All you can think about is your performance, because this is the only thing you have the control over. There's only 2 things you really have control over in your life: your actions and your attitude. That's it. Everything else is kind of a roll of the dice, but you always have control over your actions and your attitude. But it starts with attitude or state, because attitude will really impact your actions. If you're scared, you're gonna act different than when you're confident. If you're in a relationship, if you're jealous, you're gonna act different than when you're secure. If you're in a fight and you're afraid, you're gonna act different than when you're confident. What you have to control this, you have to control what you focus on. Brandon, what does that have to do with that fucking baby you was talking about in the beginning? I'll tell you what happens is you done took so many L's over the years that now you're just not as happy as you were when you was a baby in general. Like, your state is diminished because you focus on these L's. Oh, she left me. I got fired. They did that. She shouldn't have did that to me. He shouldn't have did that to me. It's not fair. Mommy did this to me. Or whatever type of fruity shit y'all be thinking about. The key is to change the focus at all times. Anytime something negative happens to you, or what you perceive to be negative, you got to remember, every subject is 2 subjects. For example, a while ago, I missed a flight. It was an early flight. I didn't wake up early enough. I missed it. I mean, I just missed it. You ever been running and then they closed the door on you? And I was like, fuck, you know? It's fucked up. I had the first class seat and everything. I was feeling real good. And then for a minute, I was getting like really upset. And that's normal. Called myself, was like, Brandon, that's bitch nigga shit. Chill out. And what I did was I said, okay, what good can I get out of this? I changed my focus. I didn't get the result I want, but I still changed my focus. What good can come from this? And I thought, okay, this is a good opportunity for me to practice patience. This is a good opportunity for me to practice emotional control. Shit, how am I going to get good at these things if I don't practice? And I need opportunities to practice. This is a perfect one. And I changed my state. Boom. Before I went and talked to the plane waitress or whatever, I was like, yo, listen, I changed my state, changed my energy. I was like, listen, guys, I missed my flight. It's all my fault. I get it. I missed my flight. What can we do? Mr. Carter, there's no first class flights for the rest of the day to Miami, but we can get you on the next flight, coach. And I was like, whoa, I almost started to panic again. Can't be back of the plane with y'all. Goddamn King Keto. And I was like, all right, stay calm, Brandon. Here's an opportunity for you to solve problems. Practice your problem solving ability. And I said, you know what? What if we check Fort Lauderdale instead of Miami? And she went and checked Fort Lauderdale, and there was a first class flight, the next one actually, that I could get on, fly to Fort Lauderdale. But she said it's gonna cost an extra $300, the price change or some shit, right? And I said, here's an opportunity for me to be grateful that I got enough disposable income to spend this $300 and forget it happened, right? So I practiced gratitude that I was in the right. So I'm just saying, every negative can be flipped if you change your focus. every negative, man. I'm telling you, man, it's like even my father killed himself. He shot himself in the head. It's a really negative experience. But the reason it doesn't fuck with me on a consistent basis is because I looked at it like, you know what? This is an opportunity for me to really step up and be the man of the family. Somebody got to take charge. I think I'm strong enough to do it. Here's my opportunity to do it. You got to train yourself to think like that. And what happens is once you change your focus, now your state is different. You get what I'm saying? And my state was different after my daddy killed himself. I was in a determined state instead of a sad state. How you think my performance was? I was out here hustling, killing shit, excited to get a job, excited to get 4 jobs. You know, when I worked for the moving company, that was one of the jobs I had, moving company, fucking backbreaking work. But I just looked at it like, you know, I had a different determination because I entered that shit with a determined state to save my family, save myself, and make sure we can survive. I approached the job with that same enthusiasm. And I did way better than everyone. I mean, I did better. I got better tips. Well, everybody who's on my team that they got better tips because I'm out here killing it and shit. But the job was more fun. That's what I noticed. When I worked hard, the job was more fun. But you wouldn't know that if you didn't have the right state. And the state comes from the focus. And the focus affects performance. And the performance, if your state is solid all the time, and your performance is solid all the time, then the results will take care of itself. You don't even have to look at the results because results are what's called a lagging indicator. Means it's only showing you what happened, right? Like if my son is taller than he was last year, right? But that's a lagging indicator. It just shows that we fed him and made sure he was nourished and got enough nutrients. So he grew. It just took care of itself. We didn't have to do shit. All we had to do was focus on our performance as parents. Make sure he had everything he needed. It's like that with all your goals, everything you want to accomplish, everything you want. All you got to do is focus on your performance with the right state and change your focus at first, and then the results take care of itself. You don't even have to think about it. You don't even have to look at it. If you know you out here killing it every day, how can you lose if you're doing it every day? So you gotta track your performance, not the results. Because if you look at the results, you're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some, and there's so many things that can go into whether you'll win or lose the actual thing. But over enough period of time, if you're consistent, you're gonna win. Consistency is undefeated, right? And that's why I tell my salesperson, like, yo, don't worry about that one sale, right? Worry about your performance over and over again. And what happened was all their closing rates went way up. They sold better, they made more money. And you know what I'm saying? We don't even really have to look at the results. All I told them was what I want you thinking about on these sales calls. It's not if you're gonna get the sale. I want you thinking about if you showed me this sales call, would you be proud of it? Win or lose? Because you can't put money in the motherfucker's account, right? Right? You don't know what he's going through, right? All you can control is your performance and your attitude. And if you do that, you can't lose over enough time.